So today I'm very grateful to have Valerie Borick with Plumline Consulting, who'll be presenting the bulk of the material. And Plumline Consulting has over 100 add-ons for Dynamics SL. Plumline Consulting does the support for Microsoft on Dynamics SL, so they know this product. Valerie has been a great resource for Accunet and for our customers kind of behind the scenes for many years. If I have a unique problem, I'll go to Valerie and ask, hey, do you have a utility or an add-on that'll solve this problem? And a lot of times she can help with that. So, and she can do a demonstration for us and help us make sure we get the right fit for this product. So today I'll be doing an overview of just two of the add-on modules for Dynamics SL, XL Statements and Sandler-Kahn's e-banking, a couple of the most popular add-ons that we do for most of our SL customers. And then Valerie will be doing the presentation for the rest of the modules, just kind of a quick live presentation, maybe 5 minutes on each of those 10 modules. I want to start with an alert here that we do have an issue with Dynamics SL, that Microsoft is not doing the 1099 updates or payroll updates for SL 2015. So unless you've upgraded to the newest version of Dynamics SL and are using SL 2018, it will not do the 1099s for you this year. We've tried to reach out and contact most of the customers. We think will impact them, but if you have an issue with 1099s this year, or especially if you're running payroll and we haven't talked to you, please reach out and we'll get that problem solved. There's a couple of ways of doing it, and Plumline, as you might guess, has a utility that will help us there as well. So the first module we're going to cover is Sandler-Kahn's e-banking, and this handles checks going out, so you can do the electronic payment of vendors. Employee expenses is something a lot of customers use to deposit those expense funds or miscellaneous expenses right into their accounts. So it sends out an email the day before and says, hey, here's the check stub, and this money is going to show up in your account tomorrow, and then the next day it's in there. They'll also do positive pay, which is very important for fraud prevention, as well as wire transfers for those that maybe that have international business and need to do wire transfers. We can set those up right inside Dynamics SL. On the AR side, we can actually pull funds from the customer's accounts to pay bills when we have that agreement with the EFT direct debit, as well as lockbox, which is kind of a unique thing where it's kind of like an electronic post office box where customers put their payments in that lockbox, and then you pull those down, and we can pull them down and reconcile them directly into Dynamics SL. So an increasing issue with COVID now is that so many people are working remote. It really helps if we can do the check processing electronically without having to go into the office to print checks. And that's one of the things that AP/EFT allows you to do. And Accunet helps consult with that relationship. We send out, give you template letters to send out to your customers to say, hey, we want to start moving you to electronic payments. And a lot of customers are willing to do that. And then for you, it saves the time of having to be in the office, manually, physically printing a check, the printer cost, the ink cost, postage cost, envelope cost, and of course, most of all, the labor of mailing and stuffing those checks. And then whenever you send checks out, you have a fraud potential. So if we can avoid sending out checks that has your checking account number and bank routing number on them, the more you reduce that number of checks, the more you reduce fraud. And so e-banking does electronic processing with ACH. You can settle very quickly. That helps with cash flow, and get all that automated and controlled with Dynamics SL, so you have a very tight integration. The second product we want to talk about is Excel statements. So Excel statements is a Excel-based financial report writer that replaces the old FRX, which has been discontinued by Microsoft, and MR, which is Management Reporter, which replaced FRX. Microsoft has already frozen development on MR, which for me usually means that product is being sunsetted. And Management Reporter has actually been a very problematic product for Accunet to support. It is very finicky and tends to crash and corrupt. So our strategy has been to move people to an Excel-based report writer like Excel statements. And Excel statements is the number, or not Excel statements, but Excel is the #1 financial report writer in the world anyway. That's what most users consume financial information in, is Excel. So if we can dump that information to Excel, we've kind of cut a step out of dumping the report in FRX or MR, exporting it to Excel, massaging it, getting the columns all right, and then distributing it in Excel. Now it's directly connected to Excel, and we cut out that middle step. All right. So Excel statement is an add-in to Excel. So what you see is a bunch of additional features and tabs that show up in Excel that kind of replace some of the things that you're used to in FRX and MR. Like this year versus last year, this period versus last period, budget versus actual, those type of statements where you can add rows and columns using standard Excel features or some of the advanced range features that Excel statement adds. So we find this to be a very popular tool, and it is something that we're encouraging all our customers to move to. So just some of the benefits there. I mean, you can do drill downs. You can use the flex key sub-account combinations in SL. It knows about those. So Excel statement knows SL, and it's that live integration. You can even bring down, with some of the new features, you can bring down projects as well. And then one of the big things that people are doing in Excel already is budgeting. And with Excel statements, you can pull down your transactions from last year, modify those, raise some up a percentage, down a percentage. You can cut out segments of your sub-accounts and pass those budgets over to departmental managers, have them put in their information, and then roll that all up into a master budget, and then import that right back into the budget ledger that's in Dynamics SL, so that you have a budget contained within the SL system. You got a closed loop in that live connection. And I'm going to turn things over now to Valerie Bork. And here's on the screen, there's just some of the modules that she's going to cover.
So good afternoon, everybody. Again, I'm Valerie Borak from Plumline Consulting, and I am going to show you maybe top 12, if I can, SL products that Plumline has to offer. Now, with all of our SL products, we use the same tools that are used to create Dynamics SL, like Mike had said. So all of our products are going to sit on your SL menu, as you can see over here. They're going to have the same lookup functionality, the same security functionality. Really, once you start using them, you would not know you are using a third-party product, since we install directly into SL. We also sell them by your SL user ID. So what that means is the products don't care if you have 1 SL license or 500 SL licenses. It's the same price for the software. All of them come with an 18% maintenance plan annually. So you make the purchase and then you just pay the annual maintenance every year. So with that, I'm going to go into my list. And again, please feel free to ask questions, type them into the question pane, and we'll answer them. Or when we get to the Q&A, you can take yourself off mute and I'll be happy to go back to any of the products and answer your questions and see what I can show you. Now, this is going to be very...
I've got one tip for the user or the people on the webinar.
Mm-hmm.
If you slide your mouse over to the right, you'll see a magnifier, and you can magnify the screen and make it bigger, maybe a little easier to read. That's it.
All righty. So the first product I'm going to show you is fixed assets for Dynamics SL. Now, this is a very large system. It is, if you are using, or if you are tracking your fixed assets in a spreadsheet or in a third-party product and having to copy and paste your depreciation into SL on a monthly basis or so forth, or if you're just, well, that's usually what you're doing with a third-party product. So if you use a fixed asset system that is inside of SL, like our system, we would have to, sorry, let's open a screen here. You would be able to not only track any transaction that goes with the fixed asset, but you would also be able to post depreciation directly from within the system. This is our main fixed asset screen. So you're able to see all of the acquisition, retirement information. You can do impairments, you can do asset splits, asset disposals. You can see all transactions that happen within an asset. Now, see this information over here in this box. What's great about this system is that in your asset AP records screen, when you start creating transactions for fixed assets within SL, you can pull all transactions in, say that you posted to AP and purchasing. You can pull them in. You can update an asset from that transaction. You can create a sub-asset from that transaction. You can even say that transaction line should not have been posted to that asset account and put in the correct account, sub-account, and reverse it. So this gives you the ability to make sure the information that's going to your assets is correct and that all the transactions happening within your system are posting to your assets. Also, depreciation is put into one screen. You can put in the period you want to depreciate and hit calculate and depreciate. You can also preview what is about to calculate and depreciate. You can use the utilities and you can change method changes, section 179 changes, and bonus changes. You can also do a calculate life to date. You can choose an asset and recalculate the life to date on that asset if you have made a change and need to update it. All of which these transactions will automatically post to your general ledger for you. If there's some checkboxes in the setup screens where you can say, instead of automatically posting or releasing to my general ledger, you can create a batch and hold, then you can go in and release the batch to work with your different workflows that you have set up for your GL. So that is just a small snapshot of things that fixed assets can do for you. If fixed assets is something that you would like to budget to do in 2021, please reach out to Mike because we could do a full hour demo just on this system. Okay, so that is the first product I'm going to show you. The next product, since we're still over here in the menu, I'm going to touch on our one-time vendor product. Now, this product gives you the ability to create one-time vendors in the system instead of having to actually create a vendor in the vendor maintenance screen. In setup, you just create a vendor called one-time vendor. Then when you are processing your vouchers, you would pull up one-time vendors. So let's see if we can go into accounts payable over here. And when you're doing a voucher in your voucher and adjustment screen and you pick up the vendor that this is for, you instead, if this was a one-time vendor use, you would instead type in one time, pull up the one-time vendor that you've created, and with this customization, You then fill in the information for this one-time vendor. This information will follow the one-time vendor through the payment process, but it will not, you do not need to actually create a vendor in vendor maintenance for this one-time vendor. Now you can create categories for one-time vendors. You can define the 1099 information for the one-time vendor, but again, you don't have to create a new vendor if it's a one-time vendor. So that's something that would make your life easier. We have that for you. We also have a 1099 vendor accelerator product. Now, this product gives you the ability to update update 1099 information all in one screen. So you can update that 1099 information, pull it in, hit select, and update the information all in one screen. You can also reset 1099 information from here. You can do exclusion accounts to exclude what gets pulled into the list, and you can do exclusion sub-accounts. So if 1099s are something that you work a lot in, this product would speed up the process for you. Now those are just those are on our regular menu. Now we're going to come down here and we're going to open some individual products. Some of the things that, and I do talk very quickly when I am reviewing so many products. So again, write down your questions or stop me. You can unmute yourself and stop me if you need me to repeat something. I do talk a little fast sometimes. So voucher to credit card. Now we actually created this product for one of Mike's customers years ago. And what this product allows you to do is when you are paying vendors with your credit card, and you're doing this a lot. And what you're doing is the voucher comes in, you enter it into accounts payable in your voucher adjustment screen. And then you have to go through the process of paying that voucher, saying you paid that voucher with a credit card, and then creating another voucher for the credit card company to actually make the payment. So what voucher to credit card allows you to do is you load a grid with all the vouchers that you paid using your credit card. Then the system will create a check document to clear the original individual vendor voucher. Then the original individual vendor voucher is rolled up to a credit card vendor as an open document that can be selected for payment, okay? So it does this automatically, and it's gonna do it in this voucher to credit card screen. So you come in here and either you load all transactions for a vendor. You can load a date range, give me everything that's due within a specific date range, or we have a place in the system where you can create a credit card code and you can tag your vouchers as they come in the door that says paid by my Visa, and you could load everything that you paid with your Visa, and you could say, give me everything I paid with my Visa, and I'm going to hit load grid. And everything that I selected that I paid with my Visa will load the grid. Okay, then you choose the credit card you want to create the voucher for, and you give that transaction a description. You select the items that you want, and you hit create a voucher. And again, it creates that check document, and then it rolls up the selections into a voucher to be paid for the credit card. So this is something that has become a lot more popular, especially with people purchasing a lot of things using their credit cards, especially in this day and age. You can also, yes, sir.
I can't keep my mouth shut. Let me chime in for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the big benefit of this is that you drive expenses to be paid by credit cards where you get points or cash back.
Mm-hmm.
And it reduces the number of checks that you have to send out, which it helps with security and reduces that cost as well. But this lets you still maintain the voucher process that you normally would, but when you're getting ready to pay, you select those vouchers that you want to pay across multiple credit cards. And besides the points and the discounts, you also get an additional 20 days or 25 days, whatever that credit card has, of cash flow to pay that bill.
And you can also, with some of those programs, they give you a file format and you export the vouchers that you want the the actual credit card to go out and pay for you, you can do that in an export to CSV process. So that is something that you can do. Sometimes, most of the time, we have to format that file for you. So it's a one-time customization, but then you can use it for any of those programs that your banks or credit cards have for you. Okay, so that is voucher to credit card. Now, on the flip side of that, we have another product called credit card import or purchase card. And what this product was created to do was you are you're paying things with your credit card, and you aren't creating the vouchers until you get that credit card statement every month. Then you are creating vouchers off of that credit card statement manually. And most people are, hand keying them in the voucher and adjustment screen, then having to create a dummy check to clear the voucher, and then having to create the voucher to the credit card company so that you can pay your credit card statement. So with that being said, this product does that process for you. What you are able to do is click on the right button here. What you're able to do is create a file or create a mapping file for each of your credit cards. And then every month you use that mapping file and you come in here and you import your credit card statement in the CSV or Excel format. And then you can select the items that you want to have vouchers created for, and you can update the information in the grid. What big thing that has to happen is the merchant has to match the vendor. So you have to come over the vendor fields in F3 and choose your vendor in SL that matches the merchant on your credit card. And once you do that, the system will remember that for that merchant on your credit card statement, you mapped it with this vendor. And the next time you come in to do that, it will know that that matched, and on the next import statement, it'll pre-populate the information for you, so you don't have to re-hand key it every time. It also, once you generate that vendor, the expense account, sub-account will populate. You can update the rest of the information. The item description is going to be your voucher description in SL. You can update project and task information here. You can split a line so that if that one line needs to be split across multiple account, sub-account combinations, you can do so. And once the whole thing is filled out, you select the items that you want to do and you hit Post AP. What that will do is it will create a voucher for every line item in the grid that you've selected. It'll create a dummy check paying that voucher, and it'll create the voucher to the credit card company. So in all, if entering credit card lines from your credit card statement is something you're doing on a monthly basis by hand, this could potentially save you a lot of time, and it's definitely something you should look into. Okay, that again is called credit card import or purchase card. It used to just be called purchase card, and we renamed it, but then it got confusing, so sorry about that. But if you ask for credit card import or purchase card, you'll get to the same thing. Now, the next product we are going to talk about is one of my favorite products. It's super inexpensive and saves so much time. If you are tracking your prepaid on a spreadsheet and manually entering them monthly, this product is so for you, okay? Because what you're doing is you're going to create, instead of tracking that prepaid and manually entering the monthly journal transactions, you're going to come in here and you're going to create that prepaid one time for the year, and then you're going to tell it what periods you want it to amortize across. You're going to tell it how much you want for the debits and the credits and the company and the accounts you want those things to break down to. You have an option of having it go by amount or percentage, and you have an option for it to equally distribute across the period range you choose, or you can manually set up in the grid, you can manually set up how much you want to post each period. Now, the beauty of this is once you have this set up, on a monthly basis, you can just come into the process prepaid, put in the period and hit process. It will process any open prepaid for that period based on how you have the prepaid set up in each of the selection screens. So instead of having to do that manual transaction every month for all of those different prepaids, you're just clicking a button. But the other beauty of this product is that you get reports, which you don't have at this point if you're tracking these things on Excel spreadsheets. You have a prepaid period balance, prepaid current balances, and a prepaid preview, as well as a forecaster so that you can forecast your prepaids. Now, all of our products use Crystal reports. This report has multiple formats that you can see it in, but here I'll open one for you so just you can see prepaids by period balances. I'm going to move you guys out of the screen. There you go. So you can see all of this information that you wouldn't necessarily be able to see just by using an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so this gets the information into SL. It automatically creates the transactions by you clicking the button once a period. It does not allow you to process prepaids multiple times. So if you go in and click prepaids on the 12th, and then you come back at the end of the month and hit it again, if anything has already been processed, it will not process again. Okay, so that is Prepaids Processor, which is one of my favorite products that we have. Now, the next product I'm going to show you is our Quick Find module. Now, this product allows you to find information in SL easily. And by that, what I mean is every screen or every module in SL has their own quick find. And the majority of the fields that you would be usually looking for information for come up in the grid. Now you can either F3 on the field and choose what you're looking for, or you can, see I F3'd, and if you choose application, you could find the application. If that was an invoice, I could see if a payment was applied to it. You could also say, give me everything in AR for a specific vendor that's greater than $200. And you could load the grid. So let's clear this and give me a vendor. Am I in AR? Oh, I am in AR. I guess I shouldn't use vendor if I'm in accounts receivable. But you could say, give me anything I have open and have the original amount, shift, great, and $200. And you can hit find. Hopefully that brings all that information for that vendor into this grid. Now, things you can do from here. You can drill down to a specific line item if you find it and open the document directly from here. That's a bonus because instead of leaving this, or you can get an error because sometimes that happens in my demo system. Sorry about that. So you could go directly to the voucher from the screen, or you could export the information into an Excel spreadsheet with a pivot table or just a standard Excel spreadsheet. And these are the already nicely formatted spreadsheets for you. So there's no having to massage the data and such. So any information that you've loaded into the grid in AP, AR, General Ledger, and Project Controller can be exported into an Excel spreadsheet or an Excel spreadsheet with pivot table. So that is a really nice functionality. Now, for Quick Find, we have this for AP, AR, bill of materials, general ledger, inventory and inventory lot, project controller, purchase order, sales order, work order. So you can buy it in two separate packages. One is what we call Core 4, which is AP, AR, general ledger, and project controller. And then the other package gets you all of the modules. Now, I did mention you could do some, give me everything over $25. What I did was hit shift greater than or equal to, and it lit it up in blue. You can actually light these fields up using any of the search filters at the bottom. So if you knew the name or a portion of the name of the vendor, you could do contain string and do shift $ here and put the portion of the name you knew because you don't know the vendor's real name. Or you can use these filters to help drill down to the information you're looking for. This is not a quick query because we are not rerunning a query. You have to build your search each time, but it's as easy as putting information in one field, many fields, just depending on what you were looking for. I feel it saves a lot of time when looking for information. I personally know that in AR, when I'm looking for an invoice and whether or not that invoice was paid and when it was paid. That could be multiple screens I have to go to find that information. With quick find for AR, I just put the invoice or remotely what I know in the quick find module, and it allows me to drill directly down to what I'm looking for. So that is quick find. Then I have some movers, and I have two. One is loaded on here and one is not, because I ran out of room. What happens when you have a lot of products. But this product is a time saver. I know everybody is perfect, but for the ones of us who admit that we're not perfect, sometimes transactions get posted to the wrong account or the wrong sub-account. And then you have to go move them, and you have to create the reversing transactions to move those, move the transactions from the wrong account to the new account. Can be sort of tedious. It can happen. It could be something that you guys are spending a lot of time on in your month-end processes. With GL Mover, you're able to pick the old account that you posted the information to, the new account you want to move the information to, and then that's the same account. That won't really work. There you go. And then you can say reclass my GL or reclass my GL and my source document. And then you load the grid. If you knew exactly the batch module that the transaction was in that you needed to move, you could make this a lot more detailed. Mine, I just like to load information in the grid so that you guys can see stuff. So you literally pick the item, you hit yes, and then you hit begin process. And it is going to move this transaction from the old account to the new account. Now, it's not going to do reversing transactions. It's going to make it look like it posted to the right place the first time. So these products are not something you should use if you you found something that was posted to the wrong place from 5 years ago, because it's going to change that account information. It's going to make it look like that transaction was in the right account the whole time. So this is, I usually try to focus people on, this is something you use in year-end month-end processing or during the month, and not necessarily on close periods from months and months ago. I guess it all depends on your correct work or your workflow. But you hit the begin process, it moves it. It also has a report that's called the mover log, and it shows you who moved it, what was moved, and where they moved it to. So that does give you an audit trail for the movers. Now, just like GL Mover, we have a period mover. And if you have people who have posted to the wrong period, say they posted to 2025, you need to go out and grab it and bring it back to 2020. You can do the same process using the period mover module. You can move it from one period to another instead of one account to another. So there's two separate products, but for two different processes, one being account posted to the wrong account and one being posted to the wrong period. Then the next product that I'm going to run through is our AR collections module. Now, for you AR people on the call, this is a great module because you can do all your AR collections from one screen. You can pull up a customer, or you can see a list of customers with open balances. So it doesn't give you all your customers, it just gives you the customers you need to collect on. And then you can see their invoices over here. And on each line, when you choose the invoice, you can see the collections efforts in the grid below. You can also email out statements and invoices directly from the screen. It pulls in, excuse me, the email address from your AR maintenance screen. Sorry, your customer maintenance screen. You can add in as many other email addresses as you want to the screen. And then you can, send out a copy of the invoice, send out a copy of the statement with a little note. We just spoke on the phone. You said the payment was in the mail. Here's a copy of the invoice we spoke about, things of that nature. So this is a great place for you to be able to do all your collections and have other people be able to see what the collections efforts on specific invoices are if they are on the phone with somebody and they need to know if that customer may not be telling the truth or not. Oh, well, we have that you said the payment was in the mail 3 days ago when you talked to Molly. And then they're, then they have to fess up. So that's your AR collections. Now it does also have a multi-email option where you can load the grid by statement, customer ID, company ID, statement cycle, or customer class ID, and email out their open invoices or statements directly from this grid. So you can do mass emailings for your collections efforts before you go in and do your individual collections efforts. Both pieces are included in the product. So it also has a way you can do a past due list. So you can see your past due customers 30, 60, 90. And we also have a next collections contact list. So in this grid, you put the next collection date. If these invoices aren't paid, I need to follow up on this date. Well, then you can pull a report and do your collections efforts off of the report based on when you've already when you last spoke to those people, to help you get those reoccurring invoices off your aging. Then the next product we're going to talk about is our journal entry description changer. This is a short and sweet product. If sometimes there's misspellings in your journal entry and description and you don't, or somebody didn't follow the right process as to what you want in the description and you want to be able to change it, you can come in here, you can change it, you can hit save, and it will update the journal entry description. It will not allow you to update the grayed out pieces. It will allow you to update the reference number if need be. But as you can see, account information, company information, amount is all grayed out, and those are the only two fields you're allowed to change information in. So very short and sweet tool, allows you to do a little bit of editing where you wouldn't be able to do that before.
Hey, Valerie, one quick note here on several of these packages are very handy for people who have picky auditors that they give them a hard time about descriptions or too many correcting entries. You can put these in and clean up your ledger so that it's looks better for an audit.
Yes, very much so. Okay, so with that, auditors probably don't like my eraser package so much, but I throw it out there just in case. If you come into a crazy problem where somebody released a batch and it all heck went loose and it was completely wrong and you wish you could have just gone in and erased it, well, we have erasers, okay? We have erasers for your GL, for your accounts payable, for your accounts receivable, cash manager, and project controller. These erasers give you the ability to erase one document or one voucher batch. You choose the vendor, you choose the voucher, you put in you F3, you choose the required information, okay? You fill this in, you put why you're erasing it, you view it to make sure it's what you were supposed to erase, and then you hit erase. And it erases that transaction like it was never entered into the system, okay? Puts everything back to what it would have been prior before you erase it. Some people that makes you cringe, some people are okay with that. These modules are not okay for everybody. I totally understand that. But we find a lot of people use them as handy tools for cleaning up messes that may have been made. And then there is an eraser log. Like I said on the GL mover or the period mover, there is an eraser log that says what was erased, why, the reason it was erased, and who erased it. So for your auditors, you do have the ability to pull an eraser log and say, these were the transactions that were erased out of the system. This is why they erased it. This is what was erased and who erased it. So.
Hey, Valerie.
Yes.
All these products use the SL security model. So we can control who is allowed to do this. So this, obviously most of these functions would be something you control at the top level of the accounting department.
Most people, when they purchase the erasers, most of the time, they're not even on anybody's menu except for say the controller, or usually only one person has access to these. These are not things you put on everybody's menu and give everybody access to, definitely. So again, we have the erasers for all the different packages and or all the different modules. You buy them separately. This is not a one fits all. You can just buy, an AP eraser. I will tell you that AP transaction, if you use the AP eraser, it not only erases the AP transaction, but it erases the general ledger transaction as well. Now, the general ledger erasers only erase the general ledger transactions. They don't work backwards. But the AP and the AR erasers also erase the general ledger transactions. So that is just something to keep in mind if the eraser package sparks your interest. Now we also have for you on my menu over here an AP import product. Now what this product is giving you the ability to do is a lot of people are using outside expense third-party products, and they're importing in their expense transactions to pay their employees out of SL. Any tool that, or any third-party product that you are needing to create vouchers in SL for, you can use this AP module to do so. AP import module to do so. It was created off the idea of our credit card import module. So you go out, you take a file that we'll use Concur, for example. A lot of people have heard their name. You take your Concur expense file, you map it so that you have formatted the file to be how you want it to post in SL. You load the grid with the information, and then you hit a post to AP. And what this is going to do is it's going to create the vouchers that you've loaded into this grid. It's going to create all of them automatically for you. So if you're not really good with transaction import, or you're tired of having to muck with control files that come with transaction import, this is an easy tool to use to import data and create vouchers in SL for you. Then let's see, I think I have touched on the majority, all the products I said I was going to. I think we have. So is there any questions in the question pane on any of the products I showed you today? Anything you want to ask, anything you want me to go back and show you more of? Anybody?
So I gave you more time this time, Valerie, so you didn't have to fly through it so fast.
I didn't have to. I know it's so hard for me not to fly when I'm doing multiple products. So one question I usually get is for the credit card import product. So I just want to make sure that you guys understand that that can be used on multiple credit cards. So can the voucher to credit card product. They're not set up to use for one. So if you, they're not only set up to use for one. So if you are a company using multiple credit cards, both of those products can handle as many credit cards as needed. Another question we normally get is on fixed assets, and fixed assets gives you the ability to have not only a main asset but sub assets. And if you have a truck on your books and you create a sub asset of a transmission for that truck, and what's the word I'm looking for? You want to
Book?
No, depreciate. There we go. Depreciate the sub asset over a completely different range of periods. You can do so, but when you go to dispose of the asset, it will force you to dispose of the sub assets. You don't leave a transmission on your books for a truck you sold 5 years ago. So that is definitely something that we hear a lot in fixed assets. So we have a question in the queue, and it says, can credit card imports be done more in real time instead of only upon receiving monthly statements? Yes. So the only downfall to that is you can go out to your credit card company and you can download all your transactions daily. Okay, you can do it bi-monthly. You can do it however many times you want. There is no way for the system to know if you have imported that transaction multiple times. So that is the only flaw in there, is that you have to remember where the last transaction that you imported in was, so that you don't bring it in a second time. But you can go out there as many times as you want and do that on a daily basis if you want. I know a lot of people have to do that because of their credit card limits, or that they've just create so many transactions on their credit card statements. Waiting to the end of the month is a really long task. So that is definitely something you can do. It's just a matter of the workflow you guys set up.
All right, and then Cassidy, if you kick the screen back over to me, and then Valerie, I'm going to ask you in a minute to tell our folks about the promotion you have for our customers. But we have one of the things with Plumline is they have so many products, we can't cover them all, and some of them are so specialized and obscure, it wouldn't be good to show a big group anyway. But I have that full catalog. So if you'd like to see the full catalog of utilities, just to send me an email and I'll send that catalog out to you. And if you have something just that you want to talk about, of course, we'd love to talk through that and see if that's something we can do possibly with standard features, with a minor customization, with Plumline's large library. And there are other people who develop third parties as well. So we've got a lot of choices to solve some very specific problems. And that's part of the value that Accunet tries to bring to our customers. So Valerie, tell us about the promotion you have for us.
Sure. From today through the end of December, any purchase you make on our Plumline products, you can receive a 20% off discount. So if you bought 2 products, or if you bought 10 products, or if just 1 product, you could get 20% off each product off the list price that you see in the catalog. So that doesn't include your maintenance plan, and all products are just for your products. It is not any services to install or implement, but you do get 20% off the product purchase, which actually saves you quite a bit of money if you buy something like fixed assets, because the list price for fixed assets is $3,495. So you save a pretty big chunk of money on the products if you purchase by the end of December. So we have plenty of time. If you saw something you like today and you would like to see a full demo, you just contact Mike's team, and we could set up a full demo for anything, or we could quote out the product pricing and services for you with that discount by December 30th. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's through December 30th, and it's 20% off your product purchase.
Thanks so much, Valerie. We appreciate that. I've never seen a discount that big on Plumline products, so that's wonderful to get.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I encourage anybody to drop me an email. This recording will be out on our website later today if you want to review it or share it with somebody else. And take advantage of us. You've got a problem, you've got an inefficiency, you're doing something manually or it's cumbersome to do in SL. We've probably got a utility out there that'll fix it. So contact us and challenge us, and we'll take that challenge. So thanks so much, everybody. Thank you, Valerie, for presenting today. And we'll let everybody go.
Guys. Have a great rest of your day.